Blood dripped from my knuckles as I stared at the man writhing on my floor, his arm bent at an impossible angle. "Please," he begged. "We didn't know. I never thought I'd have to break a man's arm in a suit to protect my daughter, but that's exactly what happened when 3 fake homeowners association imposters showed up at my door trying to kidnap my teenage daughter. They didn't know I was a former Navy SEAL. They didn't know I'd been tracking them for weeks. And now they had no idea how they were going to get out of this mess. 6 months ago, life had seemed perfect. After 15 years of service, I'd finally settled into civilian life in Pinewood Heights with my 15-year-old daughter, Olivia. My wife, Rachel, had passed away 3 years earlier from cancer, leaving just the 2 of us to navigate life together. I started a private security training business, and Olivia was thriving at her new school. I chose Pinewood Heights specifically because it didn't have a homeowners association. I wanted freedom, not oversight. That decision ended up saving our lives. The first red flag came about 2 months after we moved in. My neighbor, a sweet older lady named Margaret, asked if I'd paid my HOA dues. I told her there was no HOTATs why I'd bought the house. She looked confused and said a man had come around collecting fees. At first, I assumed it was a misunderstanding. But then it happened again, with more neighbors mentioning similar visits. When I called the county office to verify, they confirmed Pinewood Heights had no registered HOA. This wasn't just a misunderstanding. Someone was orchestrating a scam. Then I found an envelope under my door. Inside was a letter demanding $500 in monthly dues under threat of penalty, signed by someone named Leonard Barrett, president of the Pinewood Heights Community Association. It was too professional to be random. I started observing the neighborhood closely. Within days, I spotted 3 men in suits taking photos of houses and, more troubling, watching Olivia. They were methodical, discreet to the average eye, but not to me. I knew surveillance when I saw it. That night, memories of botched hostage rescues haunted me. I vowed not to let anyone hurt my daughter. I confided in my only friend in the area, Marcus Taylor, a retired detective who ran a small cafe nearby. I laid out what I'd seen. He didn't dismiss me. Instead, he told me something chilling. A local family had vanished overnight. No warning, no goodbye. Their house sat empty. I tracked them down. The father, Greg Johnson, told me they'd been threatened with legal custody transfers over missed HOA dues. He said they showed him court documents signed by a judge. They left that night. Greg begged me to stay quiet. I told Marcus everything. We both knew something bigger was happening. I started tracking which families were approached. They all had kids, mostly teens. This wasn't about money. It was about children. I went to the courthouse and dug into property records. 5 neighborhoods had shown similar patterns over the past 3 years. I researched Leonard Barrett. He was a failed real estate developer, cleared of human trafficking charges 5 years earlier. When I returned home, Olivia sensed something was wrong. I told her a version of the truth. People were scamming the neighborhood, and I was watching them. She surprised me. She offered to help. Olivia had a knack for computers, and that night, she uncovered a series of shell websites tied back to Barrett. I brought what we had to Officer Naomi Grant, a friend of Marcus. She believed me but said we needed solid proof. As I left, she handed me her personal number. Later that week, I saw the men again, 2 of them in an SUV outside Olivia's school. Their eyes followed her. I confronted them. One warned me, "Pay what you owe or we take what's most precious." That evening, I found a photo of Olivia walking home from school under our doormat with a note, "Pay $10,000 next week or we adopt your daughter." Everything inside me went cold. I called Amelia Price, a former JAG lawyer I served with. When I told her, she said it was the same pattern that happened to her sister. Her niece disappeared. She never found her. With Amelia helping us build a legal case, Olivia and I set up our home as a command center. We discovered Barrett's team used fake court documents to claim parents had abandoned their homes, allowing for temporary custody of minors. They'd be taken and never seen again. I gathered parents who had received letters. We formed a coalition. One member, Edward Palmer, a retired judge, said he had paid the fraudulent dues out of fear. Another family's child had disappeared. The police called it a runaway, but Edward knew better. We compiled everything. Then I followed a lead to a warehouse. Inside were small beds, soundproofing, and children's belongings. I had photographic evidence. Naomi and Amelia were horrified. We needed to catch them in the act. Olivia offered herself as bait. I refused. She insisted. In the end, we agreed to a tightly controlled plan. Olivia appeared alone at times. We had eyes on her at all times. We practiced emergency protocols. 3 days in, things exploded. Olivia was walking home when 2 vans converged. 6 men got out. She reported it calmly over our earpieces. I abandoned protocol and rushed in. I neutralized the men one by one. Olivia fought back using what I taught her. She even planted a tracker on one of the fleeing men. We caught one man, Paul, who refused to talk. But Olivia discovered footage showing custody papers falling from one man's jacket during the scuffle. That meant they were ready to take her. Marcus, one of the thugs, tried to break into our house with 4 others. My traps caught him. He confessed everything. They were planning to seize 5 children in 3 days. The files they had were terrifying. Photos, school schedules, even psychological assessments. I snapped. I began a psychological war against Barrett. I vandalized his car, distributed flyers, leaked documents to his associates. Emma and her friends dismantled his websites. The neighborhood united. Barrett snapped. We planned a raid during a meeting with a buyer. Edward and concerned parents entered the fake HOA office demanding documentation. Rachel and trusted officers were outside. Inside, we found profiles of dozens of children with prices. When Barrett tried to destroy evidence, his buyer attempted to flee. She was arrested. Barrett was arrested too, but made bail. That night, he came to my door. "Let me continue elsewhere, and I'll leave you alone," he offered. I refused. He threatened Olivia. We moved her to a remote cabin owned by Marcus. Then they found her. 8 armed men attacked. 1 officer was down. Olivia had escaped. Barrett called me, "Come to the warehouse alone." 1 hour. I went. I let him believe he had control. But I had the layout memorized and a flashbang hidden in my boot. I played for time. Olivia had hacked into our old surveillance system. I used signals. Then she cut the power. I struck fast, taking out Barrett's men. Barrett himself pulled a gun. I disarmed him and subdued him. Then the lights came on. Olivia stood there. She had recorded everything. Naomi and her team arrived. Olivia had coordinated the timing. Barrett hissed. "There are others like me," I said. "And now they know there are people like us." Barrett's network was dismantled. Arrests followed. Families were reunited. Pinewood Heights rebuilt itself stronger than before. Olivia began teaching kids cybersecurity. One evening, she asked, "Would Mom be proud?" I said she'd be incredibly proud. At sentencing, Barrett received multiple life sentences. Outside, reporters waited. I declined interviews. That night, we had a gathering with our allies. My phone rang. Naomi said another operation had started elsewhere. Olivia took the phone. "We'll help. We're a team." And we were. Survivors. Protectors. Ready for whatever came next.